Welcome to break.
We're back, and we're gonna look at the history of our anxiety. That's how I'm phrasing it for some reason.
The most upbeat episode ever.
Whoop.
It's like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
All the highs and lows.
Yeah.
Man, it's exciting. It's real. Blood, sweat, and tears. There just hasn't been any blood yet.
I have a question.
Anybody on their period?
No. Don't put that.
That would be
out
blood
there right now. The fuck.
Anyways, little PMS humor.
Yeah, we are gonna talk about periods on one episode, by the way.
Yeah,
just look,
no shame.
Look for that up. And I'm gonna put a warning on that. Just so you know, I'm gonna get graphic because it needs to be talked about.
She's like, yeah.
Okay.
There's gonna be a warning.
I had a question. Oh yeah, when you drink, do your cheeks get warm?
So we're a few drinks into this episode. If you can't tell.
Do they though?
Yeah, a little bit.
Your cheeks
and
get
your
warm?
lips get a little bit numb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my cheeks feel warm.
Can you feel your lips?
We all still have lips. But I can tell everybody still has lips. Okay, anyways, so, we're talking about some serious stuff
By the way, Brittney will be staying the night, so no one needs to worry about her. We don't get them drunk and send them off.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's safe.
Yes.
Responsible drinkers here.
Yes. Anyway, sorry. What were you asking? I'm sorry.
This is gonna be the longest episode yet. 2 hours. 2.5 hours long. It's gonna be like a Titanic movie. Titanic movie's worth of a podcast episode.
We'll pause and insert second VHS here.
Yeah.
Or like, what are the tapes called? And you put them in your car.
Cassette.
Cassette. Yeah.
That's right, 'cause you're out driving.
Flip the cassette.
Yeah. Okay, but for real, like, why do we have anxiety? Okay, I know my answer to this question, so I'm just gonna jump right in.
All right.
We have trauma, religious trauma, all kinds of different traumas. There's so many traumas, and that can be a contributor to anxiety. For me, it's like church. Growing up in a very strict religious setting, you're constantly thinking about what you're doing and if you're being good enough and if it's good enough and if you're gonna meet the expectations and the standards, and like if you don't, it's literally eternal damnation, not just death. Like when you die, like the stakes are so high. Like if you don't, if you're not good enough, you're not just gonna die. You're gonna die and for forever burn and be in pain, and it's gonna be really bad. And they say things like gnashing of your teeth, and like really, like even just the wording, phraseology, the verbiage that they use, in like strict religious settings
it's
like
scary.
that. It's terrifying. And when you're a kid and growing up in that, and you're like, it's. But then they won't let you watch like PG-13 or rated R movies. But we're going to talk about burning in hell, like your flesh melting off of your body and just being in agony for eternity. And we're going to watch movies about the Holocaust because that's educational.
Or did anyone remember Left Behind? That movie?
Vaguely.
Yeah, apparently Jesus wants you to go back to heaven naked because your clothes get left everywhere.
Through like the rapture. Yeah. In the rapture, like everyone's just like poof.
Yeah.
And it's just like clothes. You just look around. Like that's the fear though. You're like, I'm gonna wake up one day, my whole family's gonna be gone.
Yeah.
No, really, that is terrifying.
It's like Endgame when like half of the people die in Kristin and Endgame. Avengers.
Oh, Dirk. That's my stuff. Why did I blink?
I know. That's why I'm saying
Wow.
You're too drunk.
I am drunk apparently.
She's like the Marvel master.
I am.
Marvel queen.
Fucking Thanos.
And you didn't get my
taking out
reference.
half of the world.
Yeah, so you just like turn around like you're just
Thanos is God. Oh my God.
exactly though, but like that's like the rapture was literally is just like the crazy comic book stories that like we watched for entertainment, but like we were told it was real and believed it was real because we're kids and we believe the adults in our lives because that's what you're supposed to do when you're a kid. And like I had so much anxiety, I kid you not. I remember like on my hands and knees praying, begging, Jesus, God, please help me to remember to brush my teeth.
That's awful.
I'm sorry, I'm not mean to laugh.
I mean, it's funny
so
now.
Fucked up.
Yeah. But back then, like, I really thought, like, I'm going to die and go to hell because I just can't get this right. Like, I keep forgetting to brush my teeth. My mom's so mad at me. And then I would have nightmares about my teeth falling out. And, like,
it's like they use God, like they use Santa, like to make kids behave. You don't behave. You don't get no Christmas presents.
Right.
You don't behave. You're gonna die and go to hell and burn for the rest of your life. They always talk about that fucking fire all the time.
Yeah.
It's just burning all the time. People are like, I remember them describing people like reaching out of hell trying to escape, but it's not. You can't.
Yeah, because you're not trying hard enough. And
yeah,
I mean, my little kid brain took that and said like every little thing that I'm doing, I'm doing it wrong. Like I can't even remember to brush my teeth. Like you know, I didn't just
Adam and Eve had toothbrushes.
Right. Do you even have teeth when you're in heaven?
Yeah.
Like, do you even have a body? Apparently, like, you don't. I don't know. Anyways. But yeah, so that's definitely where my anxiety came from.
I could see where the
terrifying.
anxiety.
I mean, I totally get that.
Yeah, we talked like more extensively about our religious background in the culty background episode, but like, it was bad. Like, it was pretty severe.
Yeah. I would say that my anxiety comes from like that, but more in the perspective of like not being good, you know, like yours, not being good enough, or not being able to express myself the way I want. But a lot of my anxiety comes from my mama trauma. She stressed me out, man. As a kid. Oh, gosh. I could remember having anxiety just hearing her footsteps walk down the hallway.
Yeah.
And then, like, me jumping up and trying to find something to do because if I'm just sitting there doing nothing, she's going to scream at me to go do something or do the dishes or what are you doing with your life, you know? Just screaming at me and like making make me feel bad for just sitting there. Yeah. Which is where I have a lot of anxiety now, where I can't just sit there and enjoy myself. Yeah. And like, I live with y'all, and like when y'all come home, I don't know if y'all notice this, but as soon as y'all come home, I turn off the TV when I'm watching it because it just feels so stressful. I can't just sit there and continue to watch it when y'all got home because it's like I need to get up and do something because I've been sitting on the couch watching TV. And so it's like
I was like, dang, Kristin doesn't want to hang out with us.
No, it's just like I just feel so like stressed out, and then I do kind of go to my room because that's what I would do when I was younger. Yeah, I would hide away in my room because out of sight, out of mind. You don't have a freaking like person screaming at you to do things and just telling you like basically you're this horrible person because you're not doing exactly what she wants. And like I'm not a freaking mind reader. Like she would do this thing where she would come out of the room and be like, well, I was gonna take you all to Six Flags, but now I'm not because the house is a mess. Hell, if I knew you were gonna take us to Six Flags, I would fucking clean the house. Like, what? Didn't know.
Like these dysfunctional family traits that like parents who, were kids when they were having kids and like their emotions impacted how they raised their children. Yeah. And I'm sure like all the anger and stuff that came like from her like was from her own anxiety, but she was like
didn't even know or recognize it, and she's just like taking it out on us little kids, like, and then it's like I grew up with anxiety now, never felt like good enough for her, and I even started like anytime she yelled at me, like I would have so much anxiety, like I would even like go to my room and like punish myself basically, or just even to feel something, like I would start burning myself.
Yeah.
Probably should have put a trigger warning.
Oh yeah, we'll do that.
Sorry.
We'll add that in.
Yeah, well, I used to do self-harm and burn myself because of my anxiety. Like anytime she's yelling at me, I'm like over emotional, and it's like I just have to stop this feeling inside. So I light a match, and I would just blow it out and stick it on my skin.
Yeah.
It's like all that stuff I'm feeling on the inside would focus on that pain that I'm feeling on my arm. Yeah. Then I think that's the main reason why I would self-harm.
Yeah. When you're a kid, you have no choice. There's not a lot of control. That's one way you do have some control, is that you can harm yourself. I think that's why we see a lot of kids self-harming, because like you're just at the control of the adults in your life.
It's weird how like your parents' voice can kind of narrate your adult life too. Yeah. I experienced that for sure. But like I can't fold towels without hearing my mom. Like,
really?
You're not folding that correctly. Like, it's bizarre.
That's so funny though. Like, exactly towels. Yeah. That's so weird, because like that's the exact same like one for me. Like, I used to have a problem with this where like I didn't realize that voice echoing in my head. Like I was saying it out loud to other people too. Like I was like getting mad at other people for how they were folding towels, and then I was like, it like took a while to like step back and be like, why am I mad about this?
I'm the same. I know. I used to tell my husband Ryan like all the time, like, you're not folding that correctly, like But that was literally just that narrator in my head, and I had to do the same thing. I had to step back and like, he's folding the towel.
Like why does it?
I think it's crazy that like y'all can put words to the feeling, I guess.
Yeah.
But me, like, I've never been able to describe the feeling that I feel, like, because it's not like I'm hearing my mom's voice in my head when I'm stressed out when y'all come home. It's a feeling inside me, and it just like takes over, and I can't.
It's that as well.
Yeah, and I can't control it, and I'm like, I really don't know how. It's like I've talked to you and Hannah before, like when I was younger, which really makes me think that I had major anxiety when I was a kid. Was like, I kind of have this. We kind of talked about it where I could kind of explain a little more. It's kind of like an out of body experience. It just feels like a separate person inside of you, and it's like mean to you in a way. I don't know how to describe it. I remember being a kid, trying my hardest to explain to someone that I'm feeling this way right now. Something you're doing or something that is happening right now is making me feel like there's another person inside of me, and I like cannot control what they're saying or doing or making me feel.
Yeah.
And I still to this day cannot put into words that feeling. I don't get it like that all the time, like you used to. But anytime like something happened too fast, or I don't know how to explain it, and it frustrates the fuck out of me, because I was just like, don't know how to get someone to know what I'm talking about. It's like, I just can't. It's like a vibrating like feeling. Yeah. Like it's feeling inside, but it's also a voice.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know how to explain.
But like it's okay, like that you can't put it into words. Like not everything can be expressed verbally though.
Yeah.
But like we can see, how it affects you, and we can relate to that aspect of it at least.
Yeah.
And believe you. Like we
Yeah.
believe you.
Yeah.
I'm like
I
that.
appreciate that.
Yeah. Like I believe that what you're experiencing is real.
Yeah. Anytime I hear a sound too that I don't like those agendas that we had when we were younger, and they had that weird thing, like made that weird sound if you scratched it. I can't stand that sound. And that thing would anytime I hear it, that thing would happen to me where I'd like have this like out of body experience kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I never knew how to explain it to people.
Yeah.
And I remember making a comment, because if you know boys at school used to do that all the time, especially if they found out you don't like that stuff.
Yeah.
And I would like try to explain to them, they would just make fun of me for it. And I was like, I don't know how to explain.
Yeah, but you don't have to. It's still real when we still believe you.
Yeah. Sorry, I kind of went on a tangent there.
So for me, it's very hard to pinpoint what caused my anxiety, and I think about it a lot. But my mom, being married to an awful, awful, awful person, that was a lot of it. I remember I could not be away from my mom without worrying. I could not be away from my brother without worrying. Like, it was a constant, I could not be away from her. I remember going to like a birthday party very young and just throwing up because I was constantly worried about her. Yeah. And I think that kind of stemmed it, but I'm not 100% sure what it was. Yeah. I also remember going to the doctor very young, getting my birthmark lasered off before I went to middle school, and that was really traumatic for me. It was very painful, and I think that's kind of what stemmed my health anxiety. Like, if I go to the doctor, it's gonna hurt, one, and two, I'm gonna get some type of bad news type thing. I don't know. It's really hard to pinpoint, but yeah, I'm still to this day, like, I don't know for sure 100% what it was. It's probably a mixture of things, but
yeah, probably. And
if you guys hear a noise, the garage is opening right now.
Yeah, what it was.
So that's what that is.
And where our studio is
Brittney's
right
looking
above
around
the
like,
garage.
what's happening? It's an earthquake. But yeah, no, I mean, anxiety, you know, it can be tricky, and like there's a lot of research and studies around this, and I think like the conclusion is that a lot of people can have like a predisposition in your biology and your makeup to develop a mental illness, and then certain things in your environment sort of trigger that to happen or not.
Yeah.
And so like there's a lot also in our relationships with people and our caregivers that has been studied, in like certain patterns, if there's certain patterns in your relationships with your caregivers, can lead to other things later in life, like anxiety, depression, difficulties in relationships. So like all of these things could play a factor. I think like it's not important necessarily to pinpoint why, but I think it is important to sort of explore and think about, to learn from the past. And it helps us put things into context for ourselves and to make sense of like why we are the way that we are. Because like, I don't know about you guys, that feeling that I have a lot, or used to have more so than I do now, is like something is terribly wrong with me, and like I'm just not normal, and I must have been born this way, and like there's nothing I can do about it. But if you start to study your history and your past and like make sense of things, it gives you like some understanding, some clarity, makes some control, yeah. And you start to feel less shame, because you recognize like there was so much out of your control that you went through in your life, and your body's just having like a natural response to those things. Like anxiety is your body responding to fear. Like your fear was my family's safety. My fear was like, I'm gonna die and go to hell. You know, like anxiety is all built on fear, and our bodies and our brains are built to be able to manage fear, and it's a survival mechanism, like you said before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's tough. Like, I think it's hard, especially talking about our relationships with our parents, because like they're our parents.
Yeah.
Like you only have your parents, and like at the end of the day, you still love them. They're your family, and you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But the truth of the matter is that our interactions with other people do mold us.
Yeah, and it's totally okay that it affected us in whatever way it affected us. Like, and who knows? Our parents parents maybe went through their own, you know, trauma that they were trying to get through, and but I mean, I'm just trying to say it's okay. Like, it's okay that we reacted the way we did, and it's not me saying anything negative about my parents or anything like that. It's just that's how I dealt with it. That's how I felt, and it's nothing wrong with that.
It's just like I've been told that I'm a certain way my whole life. Like, I'm too sensitive. I'm too this. I'm too that. You're ungrateful, Kristin. You're selfish. You're everything. It's just like so many people, parents and everything, telling me what I am, but not listening to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I would love, like, all I want. I'm not trying to call my mom out and tell her she's a bad parent. That's not what I'm trying to do. I just want my feelings validated.
Yeah.
I want her to just be able to accept that things that she said to me affected me in a negative way, and we just move on.
I want not completely go into defense mode.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I just want to feel validated. Like, I'm not crazy. Like, everyone, like, no one's perfect. We say stupid things. We do stupid things, but we can validate each other's feelings. If someone come to me and, like, I did something terrible to them or said something that offended them, I would want them to tell me, and so I can apologize and we move on. Like, you know, like,
not just apologize though. Like,
like, just, you know, talk it out and be able to, like, communicate and be able to, like, move on from a situation. Like, my ex-best friend, like, if she had reached out to me and told me, like, there were things that I might have done that she didn't like, you know, I would have appreciated that. We could have talked about it. We could have worked through it instead of just, like, ghosting on a 10-year friendship. Like, I deserved better than that. Like, I deserved at least an explanation. Wow, Melonie. But I deserved more than to just be ghosted on. And that's what I just feel like we should be validating people's feelings more, not just jumping into defensive mode and telling them they're wrong and, like, oh, you're just telling me I'm a bad parent. Oh, you had such a terrible life, Kristin. It's not about that. It's not about it's just, I want my feelings validated. I just want to be able to talk about it. We accept that we both may have said terrible things to each other, and we move on. But it'll never happen until she can not be defensive about it, or we both can, you know?
Yeah.
And that's all I want, you know?
It's hard to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
It's hard to accept when you're wrong. Or
yeah, I mean, it's hard to be wrong. I don't like to be wrong.
Yeah.
It's really uncomfortable. And I think that we've had a lot of practice accepting being wrong because we did, like, we questioned.
We're always wrong.
Well, we were always told we were wrong, but like, we questioned our faith and our religion, and, like, to step against something like that that's been so deeply ingrained in you, like, to really deconstruct and start all the way over. Like, first of all, it's super humbling, and secondly, it's like you teach yourself that, like, you can have one certain point of view and it feel like the absolute reality, and that can be taken from you and destroyed, and you can survive and come out the other side with a different point of view and having, like, grown from the experience, so you don't feel so strongly, like, lashed on to one perspective. Like, you're able to sort of step back and think, like, at least this is how I feel like for me that's what happened. Like, by sort of pushing past the fear of leaving religion, and because, I mean, there were nights that I cried myself to sleep, like, out of fear, like, what if I'm doing the wrong thing and I die and go to hell? And, like, but I just continued to, like, question and, like, to give myself space to sort of, like, observe and learn, and not just hold on to something. It's hard to do.
I mean, when you said you cried yourself to sleep, I literally cried myself to sleep every night in middle school. Every fucking night.
Yeah.
It was like, I couldn't, to live in like, as a young person, trying to figure out who you are in middle school, especially. I was bullied really bad, wasn't accepted in the church. I never felt good enough for my mom, and it was just like, and then my dad was in prison.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I literally cried myself to sleep every fucking night in middle school, and it's like hard, like, cause I don't know, parents expect so much from you as a middle school kid.
Oh yeah.
Or younger.
Does that fear still sit with both of you? So like, do you still wonder if maybe you're gonna go to hell or something like that?
Oh, I already know I'm going there. I'm gonna be running.
Curious.
I'm gonna be running hell when I go.
Ingrained in you, like,
yeah.
I can imagine that might still be a thought.
Yeah, maybe more so for Melonie, because I feel like she got more of that than I did. Where my anxiety came from, like, mostly from school and other aspects of my life.
I don't. I feel really like free now.
That's good.
And I feel like the further I get away from that time in my life, the more free I become.
I mean, as an adult, my Nana, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but my Nana has legitimately asked me, randomly, out of the blue, Kristin, are you afraid to die? And I'm like, no. She's like, I would be if I didn't know where I was going. So even as an adult, we would still get that crap.
Yeah,
and I especially get it. I don't fucking know why.
Yeah.
The pink mohawk, that was when she, when I started shaving my head, that's when she kicked me out of her house. So I have tattoos and piercings, but don't you dare shave your head.
Yeah.
But like, man, everybody getting phone calls.
I know. What's happening right now?
Yeah. Everyone knows I'm gonna be in your podcast.
Yes. Brittney's famous now.
Well, let's take a break.
Not my hair.
I love it. It feels so good.
I'm a stylish cat. Pussycat.
Welcome back, Pussycat. On the break.
You're on the pod listening. We are wearing cat ears through this whole episode. So Also, I remembered my train of thought earlier when we left on the break, and it is that I will be running hell. So if you want tickets, speak to me, because I'm going to be running that bitch.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time.
Party in the U.S.
We're so hot, we won't even feel it.
Yeah. That was very dumb. I couldn't even yeah. Totally, Melonie.
I'm good.
Okay, moving on now. So we have more questions about anxiety, and we don't want to make you have to turn over your cassette, so we'll just wrap this up. Okay. Brittney. What's something people probably don't realize about your anxiety?
That you can't just turn it off. I think that's the main thing with a lot of people that I'm around is like, I can't just stop it. If I could, I would, I promise you.
Yeah.
That's what I say all the time. It's true. I know, like, a lot of people that don't suffer from an anxiety disorder don't realize that you can't just say, don't worry, stop crying, and it's all okay. That's not how it works. Also, you can't just fix it either. You know, you just kind of have to let it go on, let someone kind of deal with it, let me in particular deal with it. And then a lot of my personal anxiety, I get a lot, well, just take some Zoloft, just take some Prozac, just take some medicine. But a lot of my anxiety personally comes from that. Like, it's very hard for me to take medication. For example, even ibuprofen, and is that how you say it? Ibuprofen.
Yeah, ibuprofen.
I've taken that all my life, and I still have to read the bottle 10 times before I take it. I don't know why, but it's just something that's part of me. So like, it's also not just easy to go take medication for me.
I take like 6 pills of ibuprofen.
Yeah, I know most people do.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I know, it's like, it's really hard for people who don't have anxiety to connect with that, what it feels like when you're in that space of anxiety. Like, you can't logic or reason somebody out of anxiety. It's not gonna work. So stop trying, first of all.
And also, like, when I'm having a panic attack, I know the logic. Like, I know logically this is insane. I know, but it doesn't matter. I have to let it go on its own. Like, I do. Yeah. So that's another thing.
Yeah. Let it go. Cold don't bother me anyway. I'm sorry.
Moving on. So, how does anxiety impact your relationships?
I think we've covered a lot of this.
Well, I mean, I talked about it for myself.
Sorry, that's a chair, by the way, if you hear that.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was.
It was the chair. Yeah. How does it, like, for me, I talked about my social anxiety. You've talked about yours. We've talked about it on all of our podcasts, probably all of our episodes. But does it does it affect any of your relationships, Brittney?
Oh, for sure. Especially with my husband. Because he does not have an anxiety disorder, doesn't really understand it. So it impacts every part of our relationship. So, like, if he goes somewhere, I have to call him. I have to make sure, like, if he gets there, I need to know he's okay. If I don't say be careful, then he's not going to be careful. That sort of thing. So, like, it's a constant, like, he is super great with it. Like, he understands how I am. But it's just, like, the constant feeling of being a burden, not just to my husband, but to everyone, like, that doesn't experience. And I don't think most of the people I'm around experience it, so they don't really understand it. But it's that constant, like, I'm a burden type of thing. Oh, you have to worry about me. And then there's the not understanding at all, that sort of thing. Like, if you don't understand, it's very hard to relate to me or understand me or that sort of thing. But it affects every single relationship in my life, for sure.
Yeah. It's like, it would be so nice, like, if you could just wave a wand and be like, oh, now you're not worried about anything. And like, it does take a lot of patience. Like, I'm saying this out of love, like, because I feel like I can, because I do the same thing that you do. Like, when I am in a panic attack or having anxiety, I'm a lot to deal with, and it takes a lot of patience, and I am very selfish, and I'm not trying to be, but you can't help it. Your anxiety takes over, and like you said, you kind of work through it, like, let it go, pass. But, like, whoever's on the receiving end of that's hard. Like, it's hard.
I feel for them.
Yeah, like, that takes a lot of patience. You want to help. You can't help. There's no way that you can help except for just to be there with them through it. Yeah. Manage it as best you can, and then, like, let it pass. So you literally just have to be patient.
Yeah. And you've been on the opposite end of that for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and even me as a therapist, I deal with that urge to be like, here's some logic and reason, because like, I'm like, I want to help you.
Well, it's like when someone else is hurting, it's like it clicks in your head, like, oh, this is what you need to do. Yeah. It's hard to take your own advice, like, you know it, but it's hard.
Right. And I know, like, I'm trained as a therapist not to do that, and I can more easily do that with clients, but when it's like somebody I'm close to, like a loved one, it's really hard because I want to intervene, I want to help, I want it to stop. Yeah. So I vacillate between, like, being really, like, calm and patient and being, like, offering solutions and trying to fix, and, so it's tough when it's your loved ones, and, like, when I think there's pros and cons, like, your husband does not deal with anxiety, but he's generally a patient person, so that helps a lot. Yeah. But then, like, an advantage to somebody like my husband Jason does have anxiety is that he can understand, like, and
What you're
relate
going
to
through.
like
Yeah.
that feeling of not being able to control it, because
Yeah.
he deals with some aspect of that too. So we're able to sort of relate to that with each other, and so it helps in a sense. But like then, like, you know, we have to deal with each other's anxiety all the time. So it's fun.
I just wanted to make a comment, like, I don't like that we're saying that we're being selfish. I don't think we're being selfish at all.
Yeah.
We're different humans. We all experience different things in different ways. I don't think it's selfish of us to know what we want and know what we need.
Yeah.
From our spouse or from other people around us, and to ask for that. I don't think that's selfish at all.
Yeah.
Because you're dealing with anxiety and you're dealing, like, and you know they can't do anything about it. Yeah. So you're doing what you need to do that's best for your mental health, and I don't think there's anything selfish about that.
Yeah.
I'm not sorry. I don't think I'm selfish when I tell Abdel that I need space and I need time to get through my emotions and my feelings and all of that. I don't think I'm selfish at all. I'm just trying to get through it so that our relationship is better. Yeah. So that we can get past it and move on and get to the good part. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's selfish of me at all.
But also, if you are being selfish, that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, there's such a negative connotation with being selfish, if that's the right word, I don't know. Yeah. But it's okay to be selfish and work on you.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't
be considerate of others. Yeah. But it's okay to think about you and do what you need to do. Like
that's not. I just don't think like selfish is the right word, because it's like selfish being a negative word. It is. That's what people have made it. If I'm being selfish, I would just disappear and not tell him anything. Mm-hmm. I would go and deal with my issues and not tell him anything and let him worry about that. That is selfish. But the fact that I'm telling him, like, hey, I need this space. I know what I need and I need you to do it. Like, you know, that's not being selfish. Mm-hmm. To me, that's being responsible for your relationship and yourself and how, because you know what to do. You've been dealing with it for your whole life. And having this extra person, like, you can't just change your habits. Like,
I think one thing that
just be considerate.
Anxiety does though is that it's so all consuming. It takes the center, like it takes the all of the attention onto itself. So like whatever anybody else around is feeling gets like the back seat to that. So like in that way, like I do feel selfish sometimes because like my anxiety, it does it to me. It takes center stage. And like in turn, everyone around me also, like whatever they're going through has to take a back seat to like what I'm experiencing in that moment. So I do feel like a little selfish sometimes, but like I think that like you're saying, that's not necessarily a bad thing and it's not intentional. Yeah. But it is what happens. And I don't know if selfish is the right word really. But when I talk about feeling selfish, that's what I'm referring to, is that like my anxiety gets so big. Like there could have been something else that like Jason is dealing with, my husband's dealing with, but then my anxiety gets triggered and now that's the center stage because we can't move on until the anxiety is dealt with. Yeah. And so like that's what's so hard, and I realize like I feel selfish saying like I know like you have this need, but until like the anxiety's not going to go away. Like it's going to stay until it's done. And so like that's all, like you can't really do anything about it. Yeah. And like vice versa with him and like his whatever triggers are for him, like there are times like I have had to, like, even though I'm having some emotion myself that I'm experiencing, I've had to like take a back seat to whatever he's dealing with because it's an anxiety moment. And that's hard because it like you feel like you're being stepped over or like your emotions don't matter as much now because he's dealing with some anxiety. But it's not that they don't matter, but I think that's what it is, just coming to realize the way anxiety works. It's gonna do that. It's gonna take center stage, but it doesn't minimize anybody else's experience. It's just the
Yeah.
way that anxiety is sometimes.
Yeah. Like,
It also means, sorry, Kristen.
you're fine.
It also just means that you care, that you give a shit.
Yeah.
I think that's like the major thing. It can seem selfish, it can seem self-absorbed, but at the end of the day, for me, it's because I care. If I didn't care, I wouldn't have that. I wouldn't have that at all.
Yeah.
You know? So I just kind of wanted to say that.
I was just gonna say, it's not you being selfish, it's your Monica being selfish.
That's
and
right.
your Chucky. And
Yeah.
my Daria.
Daria.
Sorry, I was afraid I was gonna say her name wrong.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's your anxiety.
Yeah.
That's what they do. But yeah, so yeah, good stuff, you guys. I had more questions that I can't remember now.
I think
And I lost
this
them.
is. I mean, was there anything really you wanted to mention?
Yeah.
Just to any parents out there dealing with anxiety and having children.
Yeah.
It's hard because you want to break the cycle. I was always terrified of having kids just because I know a lot of it is hereditary and it's chemical imbalance, and I just don't want to pass that along to my kid. So that's scary, but also just to try and kind of back off when he's doing something he's not supposed to do, or like, I don't know, about to get hurt or something, like just to take a step back is impossible almost with someone with anxiety. But like, my biggest thing is just breaking the cycle. Like, hoping that he has a better experience than I did. And it's not to say anything bad about my upbringing or, you know, anything like that. It's just, I want better for him. And I think that's just, like I said, breaking the cycle. And it's a constant worry in my head on top of everything else. It's like, is he okay? Yeah. You know, I don't think the bad parts of parenthood are talked about enough. I know, like, before I had my son, it was constant, like, good things, like, and it is a lot of good things, not to say that it's not, but it is very hard. It's a complete life change. Like, if you're ever thinking about having kids, like, think about that, because it is completely different, and it absorbs you as a person. Yeah. And I guess that's my thing, is like, I just don't want to pass that on to him. And like, also being a mother to him, it makes me kind of see where my parents came from. Like, maybe if it weren't the right thing, just to kind of see, you know, maybe they dealt with it the best way they could, and to kind of have empathy about that. And I don't know.
Yeah. But I also think the world's changing and mental health is being talked about more.
Yeah.
And already that's a difference, and that's a change that's happening.
Yeah.
And also, there's nothing wrong with, like, you know, you don't have to have kids. If you do feel that way, you don't want to pass your mental health along, nothing wrong with that. Because, I mean, I always get looked down on when I'm just, like, saying I want to wait.
Yeah, stop asking women when they're going to have them.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, or, like, if.
Yeah, there's a whole other human being that you're gonna have to raise, and I don't want to raise a Jeffrey Dahmer, so I'm like,
what am I gonna do?
Yeah,
I can't imagine. As someone with anxiety, I can't, like, that has to be the hardest part of motherhood, is just managing your anxiety, trying to do your best to give your child the best chance possible. Like, you love them so much, and you want them to feel loved. You know what you went through in life, and, like, just all of that combined. Yeah. Like, I'm feeling overwhelmed talking about it. So I can't imagine what it's like living it.
It's tough.
Yeah.
For sure.
And you are an incredible mom.
Yeah.
You and Ryan are amazing parents.
Y'all are awesome.
Yeah. So he's great. He's gonna be fun. He's gonna be a wonderful, beautiful boy.
Thank you.
Yeah. With a kind soul. So.
Yeah. Y'all are good parents.
Not perfect.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, Riley's awesome.
Yeah. No parent knows what they're doing. 100%.
That's very true also. Yeah, you don't know until you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a learning experience. For everyone, the kid, the mom, the dad, learning how to parent together, having same values and views on how to raise a child is just as much as a stress as having the child itself.
Yeah.
And
For sure. Yeah.
especially if you have two different views on religion and things.
Yeah, me and Ryan are the same. Like, he has completely different views than I do. So
Yeah.
that's tough. But people always wonder, like, how are you married to someone who's completely different? But
yeah,
I think that at the end of the day, we respect each other's beliefs. And,
Yeah. That's all it's about.
that's all it is. I don't judge
Yeah.
him for what he believes. He doesn't judge me for mine. And I think you touched on it at the previous episode, or maybe just in regular conversation. I don't know. But I just want Riley to learn about whatever he wants to learn about and believe what he wants to believe.
I have mentioned that. That is something I tell Abdel. I'm fine with teaching about Islam, all that. You know, that's your culture, your life, and I want them to know.
yeah.
I just don't want to pressure.
Right.
I don't want to push it on them like religion was pushed on me, and he agrees with that.
Yeah.
And agrees with like letting them choose, and like and I tell him like, and if they choose not to believe, still love them and accept them. That's what's important.
Yeah.
And he's on the same page as that. That's what matters to me.
That is good.
Yeah.
I think this is a good stopping point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, we also have, hand me the
Oh, yes.
wall. We have
Podcast
a
Podscott.
Mascot.
Yeah, he's a mascot.
Mascot.
Or what's the animals called that help you?
Oh, emotional support.
He's our emotional support, like plushie, and she, they, them, I don't know.
Yeah.
What we want from y'all though, I have it on the video. Post a picture of them probably on Facebook.
Yeah.
We want y'all to come up with a name for our narwhal. We chose a narwhal because they're unique and nobody talks about them enough.
Yeah.
And he's really soft.
Yeah.
And he's been
right by.
Yeah, Brittney's little anxiety plushie today.
Nobody else can have it.
We're gonna have to get more like little buddies in here.
He's special. He's got Brittney's tears on him.
Yeah. That's okay. He lives in the ocean. He needs water. But yeah, so if y'all want to post a name on the pod, we'll put a picture so y'all can get a good look at him. He's sleeping 100% of the time. But yeah, I think that's a good stopping point.
Yeah.
And,
now we're gonna go sleep. Like the narwhal.
Like the narwhal. I wonder if they sleep like whales. Did you know that whales sleep vertically?
No.
Yeah, it's really creepy.
That's weird.
It's insane. It's creepy. I saw a video of it.
You're a unicorn whale. Alright, goodbye everyone.
Bye. Bislama, bitches.
Stay unashamed.
Wow, we did that at the same time.
That was good.
Good job, us.
Do you guys have anyone volunteering to do the intro?
No. I'm meeting up with a friend this weekend that she's in a band